Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Caleb Alcime, and this is my presentation of learning and impact. So let's start off with a little bit about me. My name is Caleb Alcime, pronounced Caleb Alcime in Creole. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida, with one older sister. My mother and father are originally from Haiti. They immigrated here to the States in the late 1980s, escaping the many trials in their home country, searching for a better life. Growing up, most of my childhood consisted of family gatherings, sports, music, and church. At church, I was introduced to playing Haitian music and eventually began playing the drums. When it comes to being Haitian, church is a must. And as I got older, I learned to embrace it. My faith has directed me throughout life's course, and it still is. Most importantly, my faith introduced me to my purpose. So here we go to the transition. Finding my purpose has been a big deal in my life since I was a child. When I graduated high school, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I took a gap year. I made a promise to myself, and most importantly, I made a promise to God to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, whether it be music or to become an air traffic controller or even the next crocodile hunter, which I was a big fan of, and I was serious. I didn't want to rush into anything without knowing what I would do with my life. So, to support myself during this time, I applied to work at Best Buy and was hired immediately. I lasted for about a year until I had enough and it finally clicked. Music had such a strong grasp on me, I decided to quit my job at Best Buy and reunite with the music program I participated in my early high school years, Guitars Over Guns. From there, I began to mentor at-risk students in many schools across Miami. So as you can see here, it's kind of like my Guitars Over Guns timeline. I was a student, teaching kids and being taught. Then I became a peer mentor, still teaching kids, but with a greater role, and they allowed me to get more leadership. Then, I graduated high school and then became a mentor. And then to now, I am a public ally, which allowed me to serve as their program associate. So that's where it brought me here. Then that's the timeline. So this is where the journey really begins. With mentoring. Through mentoring, I was able to see what the youth in my community needed: guidance. I began mentoring students from ages 11 to 18 on anything an adolescent male would face in middle school or high school. In this experience, I grew a burden to be a soundboard for our youth and allow them to express themselves and, most importantly, help them navigate through any and all obstacles life throws at them. During this tenure, I devoted myself to the cause of our youth and grew a passion to support their future. As I continued as a mentor, I was offered an internship position to join our admin team through Public Allies. And here we go to the Public Allies introduction. Becoming an ally for an organization I grew up in made me believe that I was aware of everything there is to know about the work we do and how we do it. But I was absolutely wrong. As a mentor, my focus was to mentor kids through the arts and allow each student to reach their full potential. However, as an ally, I was delegated the responsibility of ensuring mentors are taking advantage of outside collaboration and developmental opportunities so that they are nurtured in order to teach and mentor our kids in the best way they can. This involved a series of communicating with the organizations who provided trainings and many different opportunities that helped mold our mentors and eventually give them the ability to mentor our students to their fullest potential. So ready, set, go. With the cards being dealt, I was all in. From a musician mentor to a full-time programs associate, I had to immediately switch gears. This wasn't the usual stage I played on for a weekly gig. This was bigger than that. Figuring out how to start or even where gave me a glimpse of what I was up against. Simply me. As you can see in this pic, I got a little cloud bubble saying, I am not used to this, which I wasn't. I got a little task list that says, reply to Roxy emails. Remember to put in data on Salesforce. Submit those time logs and MSRs. And you can see me stressing here in this picture. But I, managed to make it through. But this is where I get vulnerable. And let's just say it wasn't an easy transition. And in reflection, there were many mistakes made throughout the service year. And I quickly learned failing was a part of me continuously learning. And you guys got to understand, I failed over and over and over and over and over and over again, times infinity. And you can see me falling into this failing hole with the monsters in it and the monsters of guilt that kind of tried to hold me back. But then I learned that continuously learning was my thing. Continuous learning Continue. You get it? All right. Continuous learning has been one of my favorite core values because there has been not one moment that I've stopped learning, from developing effective communications with different people to creating assets out of networking opportunities, even understanding the power of an unread email. This process of continuous learning has helped me understand that delegated tasks should not be underestimated, but thoroughly planned and executed. Overall, anything not done thoroughly will always leave you with more work in the end. And I had to learn the hard way. So you can see here, I started to understand that slow and steady wins the race. As I continued in my service year, I developed the workflow and started to get a hang of things. As a result, the organization benefited greatly when it became to me being able to understand and handle some loose ends on my own. This brings out more productivity produced overall in the organization. It obviously didn't happen in one day, as there was many things to learn, such as using the data entry tool that Guitars Over Guns use called Salesforce. With this tool, we're able to capture and track attendance for our students and other important information that we can use at our monthly meetings. So you can see here, I'm on a balance beam, and I'm kind of balancing myself in the midst of public allies and this service year because there was a lot happening, So here's where I talk about my ally experience. Public allies has been nothing short of amazing. With the many trainings we received from countless professionals, I can say I have gained an immense amount of knowledge that is relative to my endeavors after my service year is completed. One training I can really recall is a training held in the beginning of my service year about inclusive language. Before Public Allies, I rarely ever used this language or even was aware about it. Many trainings such as this has helped me communicate effectively. Beyond developing communication skills, I've also learned how to maximize an organization's strength and become an asset. I accomplished this by leaning into my experience and training as a mentor. And throughout the year, I've supported the mentors by providing resources they needed to support Guitars Over Guns students. And here we're going to go on to my testimonies. I used to be afraid to speak publicly, but now I am confident in speaking to people and addressing an audience. I used to be hesitant when it came to finding solutions, but now I execute. I used to be scared to manage data. Oh, I was scared to manage data. I was so afraid I wouldn't be able to organize data well, but now I'm pretty confident in my skills of organizing data. I used to be afraid to ask questions, but now I am not afraid to ask questions or even ask for help. I rarely ever spoke with inclusive language, but now I do. And if we continue here, I used to be afraid to speak to strangers, but now I am more comfortable with speaking to people I am not familiar with. I used to never accept any compliments, but now I humbly accept any form of compliment. I used to lack confidence when it came to attending meetings or anything in general, but now I am confident that anywhere I am, I should take advantage of the opportunity, and I have and I will be grateful. I used to be afraid to call and have conversations with parents, but now I'm eager to speak with them and update them on what's new in our program. I used to mismanage my time, but now I manage my time well. And next is the most important thing of this year, which is family. As you can see, this is a collage of my family, my cohort, my placement team, and my wife. I got married. It's at the in the middle at the top. And we got the raccoon Billy, who joined us at our Public Allies retreat. He was pretty cool. We got a little bit too close. But here we go. Family. Throughout this service year, there has been many trials that has tested me and placed me in many uncomfortable positions. I can honestly say, if it wasn't for the support and love I received from my peer allies, long-term mentors, along with friends and family, I would not honestly be here. I truly believe in the verse that states, "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend." This quote also falls under accountability for one another. As an ally, I have grown to understand the importance of true accountability between people that work together. One example is our team service project. Our original premise was changed due to COVID-19, but despite having to reevaluate some things, we were able to readjust and create something that is beneficial to our community. My team worked vigorously and communicated constantly on how we should effectively deliver this project. In the end, our team held each other accountable and each member contributed their part in this project. Now let's go to reflections. We can all agree this year has been a really tough year. With COVID, the riots, there's just been so many things going on, and me and my allies always have heart-to-hearts in our check-ins, and it's always heavy. There's a lot going on, but through it all, I'm grateful to go through this time with my allies and my place. So you guys have been the greatest. And this is the end of my presentation. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who has now been a part of my life, and it doesn't stop here. Thank you, Public Allies. Thank you, Guitars Over Guns. Shout out to the cohort. We got Rick, Dio, Carmen, Taylor, Janessa, Mary, Kayan, and Mama Roxy. And I think that's it. Peace out, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.